How you doing, guys? Today I decided to make a video. I hadn't made one in a few days and didn't want to wait too long. So I actually discovered that they believe dogs' nose prints are unique like humans' thumb or fingerprints are. And I decided to share a little bit of that information. I've not really delved into it a whole lot. I've been reading some about it. And the information that I'm reading to you today is from Psychology Today. That is www.psychologytoday.com/US/blog/canine cornet corner/2021 and so on. That ought to be enough to get you there. But it's psychologytoday.com canine corner. So what I discovered, there was an article posted September 22nd, 2021. I looked up a few articles and I saw that dog nose prints, there's been not much proof to show that a dog's nose prints are distinctive enough to allow the identification of individual dogs. Evidence that the canine nose print is unique to specific dogs is actually an extrapolation of data collected on cattle. A new study showed that a dog's nose print is well established by 2 months of age and doesn't change over the first year of their life. So there's an article written by a team of Korean investigators headed by, I'm going to have to spell this guy's name because the Filipino or whatever that is language is definitely not my strong suit. The guy's name is HYEONGINCHOI of Seoul National University, Seoul, Korea, in the scientific journal Animals. The fact that the author stated that his objective to his paper is to focus on the canine nose pattern, not nose or nose print. By studying it, if it can be used, sorry, I got a message that distracted me. If it can be used similarly to the human, as like the human fingerprint is, as a unique biometric marker for each individual dog. The guy is a scientist and a dog owner that lives in Canada. And he knew that the CKC, or the Canadian Kennel Club, has been accepting dog nose prints for proof of identity since 1938. 1938, they've known this, and I did not know this as much as I'm a dog lover. But the internet causes us to learn more things than what we used to be able to just at the click of a few buttons. Anyway, a few places in the United States have also adopted dog nose printing as a common way of identifying lost dogs. The stated belief is that nose printing is a more reliable way of matching identity, since a dog tag on a collar can be lost and microchips can malfunction or become dislodged, making them useless and useless for determining the dog's identity. And I'd like to add there that if scammers can get on the internet and steal our information, I don't see why they can't get on there and change information on your microchip of your dog. So how awesome would it be to have an extra layer of protection in case something did get compromised? The argument is that the nose print serves as a unique biometric marker for individual dogs. I'm reading this to Roxy. She's looking at me like, who are you talking to? Hey, sweet girl. So anyway, the most familiar biometric marker of identity for most people is fingerprints, and that's on humans. The uniqueness of fingerprints and their usefulness for identifying people was first established by Francis Galton, an eminent 19th century scientist whose life and career spanned the reign of Queen Victoria. He made significant contributions to the study of psychology and statistics, but also did important work in establishing the forensic usefulness of fingerprints and establishing the first system for classifying them. Galton claimed that fingerprints were unique and that no two individuals have the same fingerprint patterns. Recently, it has been determined that the actual probability of finding two identical fingerprints is 1 in 64 billion, even including twins. Given the fact that the population of the entire world amounts to under 8 billion, that makes it highly unlikely that any two people alive today will have the same fingerprint. By the way, if you're looking on the video, I'm just showing you what I have to do in the morning when I get up with the dogs. And I get up and I let them potty. I get them fresh water, wash their dishes, get their food together. I feed them out on the deck just because their time is so limited that they can spend outside right now because it is so hot. I watch the clock. I don't let them stay out long, and I feed them early in the morning on the deck because they can go out there and it's big. You know, they can go out there and eat and play and run around. Then I go out, let them out one at a time because there's so much dew on the ground. They get sopping wet wrestling. But anyway, so back to our article. Fingerprints versus nose prints. Of course, dogs don't have fingerprints, but the substitute biometric marker for fingerprints in dogs is their nose print. It has been supposed that just as the pattern of every person's fingerprints is unique, each dog's rhinarium, the section of bare skin at the tip of their nose, has a distinguishing design of dimples, dots, and ridges that, when combined with the shape of the dog's nostril openings, is believed to make a mark that is distinctive enough to conclusively identify one dog among all others. And is there any scientific proof? So what is the evidence for this assertion that every dog's nose print is unique? This turned out to be one of those puzzling situations. I did a fairly extensive literature search to try to find out what the evidence was for the uniqueness of canine nose prints. I found several veterinary texts which asserted that the canine nose prints were unique enough to be able to be used for identification, but none of them provided any reference to actual scientific data on dogs. In fact, most of them, the articles referred to using nose prints to identify cattle, which I also did not know that. There's a lot of literature on the bovine nose print suggesting uniqueness and invariance, but the only report I could find on dogs was a 3-paragraph short note in the journal Veterinary Quarterly in 1994. So that stated that in the course of developing a computer program to recognize canine nose prints, an unspecified number of Doberman pinschers were tested, and their nose prints were found to be unique. On the basis of that literature, I can only conclude that the assertions about dog nose prints are extrapolations based on the data collected mainly on cattle. Given that fact, it then made sense why the Korean team collected their new data. The new data, this contemporary study used a very small number of dogs, namely 2 litters of beagles for a total of 10 dogs. The researchers were asking 2 questions. If the canine nose pattern is properly formed by 2 months of age, and if the nose pattern remains unchanged throughout the first year of the dog's life. Obviously, given such a small sample, the assumption of the uniqueness of an individual nose pattern could not be definitively tested. However, by using dogs in the same litter, the chance for similar patterns might be increased. The findings were quite clear, though. By 2 months of age, the nose print pattern was established, and monthly testing over the first year of their lives showed no changes in the pattern. Furthermore, investigators were able to show that a computer program could be used to identify those nose prints. This result suggested that if a database could be established for dogs' nose prints, Then the canine equivalent of automated fingerprint identification systems, or AFIS, used by the police to identify potential criminal suspects by their fingerprints, that might be useful to locate and identify lost dogs. So, a unique canine keepsake is now where I'd like to go to. Even in the advance of such a database, it's a fun project to collect your dog's nose print, just like their paw print, perhaps to frame it as a unique keepsake for your pet. The process is really quite simple and only requires a roll of paper towels, some food coloring, and a pad of paper. First, you blot your dog's nose with a paper towel to dry it out a little. Then dip a piece of paper toweling into some food coloring and dab it onto your dog's nose. Then you gently press the pad of paper to your dog's nose, curving it around or rolling it like you do on fingerprinting. If you've ever been fingerprinted for a job, you know how that works. You roll it in a smooth motion from one side to the other to ensure that you get the impression of the entire nose. You'll probably require a few attempts before you get a clear picture of what you want, especially if you have a squirmy dog, and I actually have 3, Boujee, Paris, and Roxy. Once you get your clear print, immediately clean your dog's nose. You now have a frameable memento that may well be completely unique to your pet. So I know I looked on Amazon.com. I looked up nose prints on dogs, something like that, and they have a kit with a little circle, like an ink pad that you can buy from them, and they range from very cheap to very expensive, in my opinion. But you could take your dog's nose print with that, and then some people used it to put in a picture frame, or they used it to get a tattoo on their self of their dog's nose print. And so I'll put links in the bottom to Amazon, to the ink stuff they've got. I will put a link to this article. And if you want to know more information, just Google dog nose prints, something like that. I read a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, my allergies are really bad. Excuse me. I Googled and I didn't share it all because I'm now having you to watch me brush my dogs. My purpose now is to show you how much hair I get in the brush from low to non-shedding Boujee, from likely low-shedding Paris. I haven't gotten her DNA back yet. That's another story. I already vetted her. I did get her breed identification. She's a doodle. She's a Goldendoodle, 100%. But her health testing didn't come back because she fights me so hard when I swab her. So they gave me a secondary test to send in. Then after that, I actually went ahead and did an embark test on Boujee in Paris because I'm trying to get them registered with GANA, Goldendoodle Association of North America, because that is a highly accredited place. You can register your Goldendoodles, and they have to reach high health standards, high health testing. And I want to make the best doodle puppies I can and prove it by the moms and the dads that we use. And they also can even recommend the dad from their database, or you can find your own and test your own. Anyway, I'm brushing the Boujee. Then I've got the dog comb to check for mats. You brush and you check. And this way you know if you've gotten any mats that were there out or if there are any mats. And your groomer will love you for this. This saves the dog from having to get mats brushed out, which is very painful. Even if they don't get them brushed out, it's painful. And this is where you prove that they really are non-shedding, because everybody sheds hair unless they're a stuffed animal, and I think even then they do. But this proves genetically tested Boujee is a low to non-shedder. She's on the lowest of the low scale, and Paris probably will be too since they're litter mates. But anyway, I hadn't brushed them for 3 days, excuse me, on this brushing because the 4th of July holiday, and I've been working a lot. I've been deep cleaning a lot, throwing out, downsizing stuff in my house. Kiss for Boujee, because she was a good girl. I'm brushing her eye boogers out now. Now, I have a fine-tooth comb I usually do that with, but they weren't that bad today, so I just went ahead and got her eye boogers, even though I'd done brushed her face. And her chin looks brown because it's wet on her beard from, hey, shake hands. It's wet from her drinking water. Anyway, I'm waiting for the results of the hair brushing. There's the brush before I collapse it. Got a little grass in there. There's the hair. 3 days worth of, oh my God. Doodles really do shed, don't they? The haters say that. Oh, they shed. They shed like a poodle, and that's what it looks like. There's little fine hairs that get trapped in their coat. If they're not brushed out, they turn into mats eventually, and then the dog has to be shaved or put through misery. Next is Miss Roxy. She's getting her hair brushed. I also hadn't brushed her, I don't think, for 3 days. And I did clip her top knot one day last week, and her ears, and I plucked her ears, and I did her feet pads, I think. But I had to groom her myself, so I kind of do hers in shifts, and then eventually she'll get her whole body hair grow out, and I'll shave her down short in the summer, and in the winter I keep her longer. I've got a grooming table. I've got everything I could possibly need to groom, but it takes me about 3 hours on a full groom, and so I just kind of do maintenance on her. Later in the video, you'll see me go and trim the hair above her eyebrows to make her top knot, because she's got a lot of poodle. She's a Goldendoodle. She's a F1B. I think the girls are F2Bs, if I remember correctly. And but anyway, Roxy sheds too, like Paris and Boujee, but she sheds in the brush, and you'll see it's very little hair. That is 3 times the hair I usually get. What I'm showing you is 3 times the hair. So it is basically nothing. And I rub all over these dogs, pet them, love on them, just rub my face in their hair. They don't make me get allergic. Outside makes me get allergic, but not them. And I brush and I comb. I brush and I comb. And you can see they don't really mind it. I mean, they rather be doing something else, but it's just because they don't really want to have to sit still for stuff. But they do really good. And this is what I was going to say about the embark a while ago. I had the girls' Oribet tested. Paris's health part had to be redone. Both of the puppies are Goldendoodles. They're poodle and Goldendoodle mixed, which makes them F2BB, I think. And I proved it by testing. And then, same thing with embark. I'm wanting to put them in Ghana, so I'm using embark now. The embark test is way more extensive. If they pass all of the embark testing, then after I think they're a year old, I can start getting their arthritis testing done, and their hip dysplasia testing, their heart, lungs, kidneys. You got to wait till they're like a year old for that. That's not too awful long from now. I'll take them both and get that done. And when the puppies are born, they'll have the tests that are required for that. I probably won't go as extensive because that'll be up to the buyer. But I will do tests and offer a health guarantee on them. It depends on what the embark test says as to how long, but I'm probably looking at a 2-year guarantee on their health if they pass everything with flying colors. That still doesn't say they won't get sick from something. God forbid they do. But that says that I have done everything humanly possible, and the rest is up to God, for them to be healthy. I've checked them. I definitely want to know if they got the potential to have epileptic seizures or a bleeding disorder or heart trouble, kidney trouble, liver trouble, things like that. That's what I'm looking for. If they pass it all, it'll be a 2-year health guarantee. If they come up with something, I don't know. Like they say, Boujee had tested positive to be a genetic carrier of ichthyosis, and she should have signs of it by now. If she even is ever going to get it, she does not have it. She should have signs by the time she's 1 year old. She's close to that. And if she does have it, all I have to do is breed her to a clear male. If the person that owns that dog, which will not be me, I won't own my males. If they don't have the dog tested, I will pay to test it. Now here's Roxy's 3 days of hair. The hair bristles collapse, and I can easily pull that out. Now that looks maybe even thicker than it really is, but I always bunch it up to show you the poodle fuzz, show you how small of a piece of hair that is. That's the shedding that they say, oh, they shed. Well, they have to get rid of the hair some way, and that is because I brush the mats out. I brush the hair out. If I don't, they're still not going to shed on the floor or on you, but they're going to get matted. We shed. We get dreadlocks, sorry, if we don't brush our hair. That's just how it is for people. So anyway, there was the good girl treats being handed out, I think. Yeah, Boujee got her a second one. Now Paris is getting brushed. I already did this voiceover once, and I had it all messed up out of sync, so I'm having to do it again. It's easier for me to record with voiceover because of all the interruptions that I get. But anyway, there's Paris getting those ears combed out. She has got super, super thick hair, and oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. Her hair's so black that sometimes on the brush it might look like she sheds more when she's brushed, but she really doesn't. It's just she's got a lot more hair. Her legs, I just wish you could feel those legs, how thick. Now she's super white, silvery white on her legs and chest and belly. She's so pretty. That looks kind of sometimes like golden, but it's not. It's white, silver white. Anyway, so when I get done brushing Paris, you'll see that she's got the black hair in the brush, but it's not even, it may not be any more than what Boujee had. See, they're sisters, they're litter mates. And they both tested, of course, for the same parent because they've got the same parent. Their neighbor dog of the owner's dog, oh Lord, the owner was on the military base. The guys in the military, the wife is living on the base with their kids with him. And they used the neighbor's dog, and I don't know if they didn't have theirs tested or what, but that they both parents was a carrier of the gene, and that's why you have to cancel it out. I've even read lately that I had reported on it that they're not even sure that ichthyosis can be tested for. It's dog dander, but it can go all the way up to what they're born with it, and it's a horrible fish scale looking stuff that doesn't itch. I don't know. There's all kinds of different stuff on the internet that may or may not be true, but I've looked into genetic testing, and they really don't even know for sure if that's a thing they can test for. And they've only been doing it, in maybe the last 10 years. But people are being more careful about dog breeding and about what they breed in and out of their dogs, so they're doing that more, which I agree with. But anyway, Paris and Boo so far are great. And, oh yeah, I wanted to mention this beep collar they've got on. I know you see the green lights blinking. I got those because the litter mates get out there and wrestle so bad, especially now that they've come into heat. They wrestle so much and they get mad, and they don't hurt each other, but they sound like they're having a vicious fight, and they don't listen when I try to stop them. Roxy tries to break them up because she's the boss dog. So all of them wear a collar, and all I use is the beep or the vibrate. And all they do is look around and say, where is that noise coming from? And then they come on because they don't like it. But I do not use the shock, never would. It's disabled. And I'm about to get them some new collars when Pet Dad gets home, and we're going to buy those. I didn't know you could get them, but we're going to buy those that don't even have that on them. But anyway, she's getting her snacky because she was a good girl too. And anyway, we'll quit using the beep collars completely when they stop doing that. And I feel like after they get a year old or so, they'll grow up and they'll quit doing all their little things. But I don't want them getting in the habit of wrestling and getting mad like that and getting mad at each other, because they might actually decide to hurt each other someday. But probably when they come out of heat, they'll stop having PMS, if that's possible for dogs to have it. So here is my Chris Christensen brush, which they're expensive. You can get them on Amazon, but they go deep into long hair Doodles fur. That's why I got it for winter. There's the Andis brush. There's the brush for Paris. I'm going to collapse the bristles with that button on the back, and I'm going to show you how much hair I got from 3 days of her not being brushed. There you go. That would have turned into mats on her coat. That doesn't fall out on its own, or it would have. So 1/3 of that is what I would have got in a daytime, which is basically non-existent. So there you go on Doodles, Do They Shed. That hater lady that raises poodles that I found out about that was posting on Facebook, which I'm not on Facebook, was saying they do too shed and they're this and they're that. Well, that shows you that's what made me decide to show it. And there's Roxanne getting her little eyebrows, above her eyebrows, trimmed up. That's just extra footage. And down underneath her eyes. And I hope you guys will like, share, and subscribe to the video, and comment on how you take care of your doodle if you've got a doodle, or your dog if you don't have a doodle. Comment down there and let us know. We might be able to get some ideas from you. Let us know what you do. And that's the end of the video, and I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Bye. That's just extra.